Hi everybody, Miss Chapman here. I'm going to give you a little tutorial about how to use the AeroGarden. So basically what an AeroGarden is it's this thing right here. There's a light, a grow light up in there. You put water in this little reservoir and some food, and then you put these little pods in and you set it up for whichever you're growing. So we're going to do that today. So basically it's a hydroponic system, which means that there's not really any soil at all. You have these little sponges right here, and everything is water. So the water comes out through these little holes, and I'll show you that in a second. And then basically it keeps on going, and it's great for, you can either grow everything in there or you can use it as starters, which is what we're going to be doing in class. So basically, because it's the winter time, we need to get everything ready to be put outside as we plant them in our community gardens. So this is super important. And as you remember from our lessons from the urban gardens as well, is that this is what people can do in their apartments or in their houses in the wintertime, or even if it's not in the wintertime, to get a little bit extra nutrients from anything that they have. So we're going to get started. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the inside looks like. So right now, I'm just going to put this over to the side. You have this little contraption here. See, there are 6 holes. You can get ones with a lot more like smaller holes, and we will have some of those in class, but here's just the big hole option because it's a bit easier to see. You know, the light is up here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you can kind of see the little dots in there. There we go. You can see the little dots in there. So those are all the little lights, and there are red lights and blue lights in there as well, which is really cool. And this is adjustable. So you'll see that we're going to adjust it. And as the plants grow taller, if you want them to grow taller, then we just adjust the light so that it doesn't burn them, because that's really important. So you have all these. Basically, this comes out here. So I'm just going to take it out here. So this is what this looks like. You see, I have some labels on there. I'm going to describe what those are in just a minute. This in the middle there, you can take that out, and basically you can add water in a lot easier and add in the plant food when you need it. So we're just going to put that over to the side. So right now you're going to see that there's like a sponge in there. There's a little thing, and there's something right there. That is where you're supposed to fill the water to. So it says fill to here, which is really easy. So if you see fill to here, fill it to there. So that's what we're going to do. So I have some distilled water right here, and we use a distilled water or filtered water mainly so that it doesn't clog up the system. So it makes everything a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So I filled it up to that line, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add some plant food. So this is the AeroGarden liquid plant food, and it says for seed starting, vegetative growth, flowering, and fruiting. So that's what we want. Now on the side, you're going to see that there are many different pod options here. There we go. So basically there's a 2 and 3 pod models, 6 to 7 pod models, 9 pods, and 12 pods. So we have 6 pods today, as you can see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means that we need to add 8 milliliters, 2 capfuls at startup and every 2 weeks. So we're at the startup stage, which means that we haven't planted anything, we're getting it going. So what we need to do is we need to add 2 capfuls, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we got 1, be very, very gentle with it. Okay, just so when it reaches the top. 1, 2, and it's going to look kind of gross. It looks brown. I'm not sure if you can see the little color in there. Don't want to trip it all over the computer. That's kind of what the color looks like, but that is supposed to be healthy. It's good for them, and that's the plant food. So we want to make sure that we put that in, or else your plants are going to die. So step, water and food, very important. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this little part. I like to put my 2 fingers in here just to put it in nicely. And we're just going to plop it on. You got to be very careful with everything. It's pretty durable, but these cost a lot of money, so you just want to be careful with them, right, guys? Okay, so we have this. Again, this part right here comes off, so you can add in water and food a lot easier. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we have these little pods, or what they are actually called are grow sponges. So we're going to take the grow sponges. They look like this. We have a bunch in our classroom, and I'll show you exactly where everything is too at a later date. And so basically these are all here. Now what you need to do is you need to soak them. So I already have some soaking in here, and you can tell that they get quite a bit larger and darker, which is fine. So we have this one here, and this one has been soaked, and this one has not been soaked. So that's something we have to deal with, right? So we need to soak them. Hopefully people guess why we need to soak them. We need to soak them mainly so then they don't float. So what happens is they float on top of the water, which doesn't really help your situation if you're trying to grow something in water. So it helps if you soak it first, and also it kind of helps it grow a lot faster too. So we're looking at speed here as well. So you're just going to take it, you're going to put it in the water just like this. See, as you can tell, it is floating around in here, like it's not like getting any water. So you want to make sure that you kind of just push it in there. I'm not sure if we can really see this, but you can just push it in there and you can make sure that it gets some water so that it can kind of sink down to the bottom like the rest of them. And we're just going to smush it in. And I'll actually show you what this looks like. Just one second. So here they are here. The focus isn't really greatest, but you can see that all of these ones are all very spongy. Look at that. They're darker too. And this one right here is kind of still floating on the top, right? You have to kind of move it around as well so it kind of gets more in there. But there you can kind of see the difference between there. So what we're going to do is we are going to start planting. Okay, so we have these here. So I'm just going to put them back over here. Now, I always said we are going to get planting, but I want to point out something first. So what I'm going to do for this little tutorial is we're going to plant some herbs and some stuff for salads, because those are the best things that it can grow in here, and they're smaller as well. So the main purpose of this, I know I said, is it can be acting as seed starting, but what we're really going to use it as is to show how urban gardening can happen in the classroom. So what we're going to do is we have parsley, always great, very healthy too. There's a big health benefit. You have to have a lot, so if you want to plant a bunch of these, you can. We have dill pickle chips right here. And then we have mustard as well. So those are some great ones there. And then over here for the stuff for a salad, we have watercress, which is great. This all lettuce salad mix and salad greens. So all these things are really awesome, and they have different health benefits as well. And we'll be talking about the different health benefits throughout the course. So what we got to do first is we got to take out one of these. So I'm going to take them into the bowl, kind of let them drain out a little bit because it's going to be kind of messy. So we're just going to let them drain, and we're going to put them in this right here. Now, this is called a grow basket. So when we buy them new, they already have these in them, but it's always best to do this. So we're going to take this here. We're always going to be planting our own seeds because we have our seeds, we have our grow pods, we have all these left over, and this is great. So what you can do is you can actually, we buy these separately, and these we just reuse. So saving the environment is very important in green industries. So we're going to pop this in here, and what do you think we're going to do next? You may guess? Yes, we are going to put the seeds in there. So that's what we're going to do now. Now make sure if you have a new package of seeds, which I have for the mustard right here, you're going to use scissors and you're going to kind of shake it. Hear the sound? You're going to shake it so then everything kind of goes down to the bottom so we don't lose any seeds. So I think everything's there. We can feel it to make sure all good. And this actually seals by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the top here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. All right, awesome. We're going to open it up. So you got to be really careful too. So what I usually try to do is I do it very slowly. So see, very slow, it opens up, and I open it up bigger here. So these are like little circles. I'll show you. So this is why we kind of want to put a few in there, because we want to get the most out of it. And sometimes you can put in just one, but when we're just starting out, it's helpful to put a few in. So we're only going to put about 4, but they're really small. So I will show you what they look like here. So this is how small they are. Oops, sorry about that. This is, oh, let me get my hand there. There you go. So these are very small. So as compared to my hand, they are very tiny. So what we're going to do is we are going to take these and put just about 3 inside of the little hole. So I'll show you what that is in just a second. So you're going to have a little dish, and you're going to put your seeds in there one at a time. And that way then you make sure that you have all the ones that you want to, and they don't go everywhere. So I have these. I'm not sure if you can see it properly here, but there is a little hole. So right about in here, there's a little hole, and you can see it better in person. So the goal is to get the seeds inside the hole. So what you're just going to do, I'm going to take 2 of these. I can pinch them with my fingers and go right in the middle there. Okay, great. You got 2, and I said we were going to do 4. I'm going to do 4 in there. Boom, there we go. It's in there now. Doesn't really look like anything's happening because nothing really is, but it's wet. It's in that wetness, and now it's going to start to really want to get up in there and grow. All right, so the next thing we're going to do after we plant the seeds is we are going to make a label for them. So what I do so they don't fall over is really just to plop them in here. Okay, I have them in there. Awesome. And now I'm going to make the label. So these are the AeroGarden labels. And these come in little packages. We have a bunch of them, and we also have ones that can iron on, but I like to use these better so we don't have to hurt ourselves with an iron. Okay, so we have these. These are, again, sticky. So you're going to take a Sharpie, and you're going to write the label of what it is. So that's what we're going to do right now. So you may wonder why I say to use a Sharpie. The reason why we say to use a Sharpie is so then it actually sticks to it. So if you try to use a pen, I just did an example. This is what happens. See, it kind of rubs off. There's nothing really there. So by using a Sharpie, that helps. So if you were, when we're doing this in groups, you want to see who has the neatest printing so everybody can make sure that they understand what is in each of the little houses there, each of the baskets, and also so we know how long each thing needs to grow, and maybe if something's behind, if we need to plant it in another one. Okay, so we're going to label that right now. Okay, so we've got it right here, the Tetsoy mustard right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on there. So it's already on the machine. So while that's good to kind of keep it there, we are going to take it out, and there is going to be a lot of water that comes down, but that's okay. We're in green industries. Water happens. We get water and soil and everything all over, so no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it out, and I'm not going to take it all the way, really, to kind of make sure that there's not that much mess, but if there is mess, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to make sure that it's as centered as possible on there. These are made specifically for the size. So I'm just going to go and put it on. See, it fits there. I'm actually going to bring it over, put my hand under it. There we go. See how it fits very nicely? There isn't any overlap on anything. And now you're just going to take your finger and you're going to press it down on the side. Now, you may be able to see this, but there are little gashes in there. And basically that helps so that when the plant comes up through there, that it doesn't break off or it's not limited to there. So it's going to grow through, and those are going to kind of go pop, pop up. Okay. Another thing that we do as well when they get bigger, maybe we can't see these, we need to take them off, is that we label this with the tape. So you can kind of do it like the way that I did it here. And the reason why I did this, I'm going to put that right here. There we go. Okay, the reason why I did this was I put two labels on, and I said I was going to get to it later, so good thing I remembered. So we have herbs and salads. So this tells us these are the herbs that we're looking at, and these are the salads. It's that salad options. It's like the different things that I showed you, and that's going to be the main way that we can tell what is what. So maybe if we don't remember what the Tetsuri mustard is it for salad or is it an herb? Well, we have our herbs right here. This also helps us keep everything organized, just like how you would in a garden. You would make sure that, okay, these are tomatoes, these are eggplants, these are celery, these are potatoes. They all have different labels. So it's the exact same thing for this. Okay. And so now that we got that covered, I'm going to put this right back in. We're going to put the Tetsuri mustard right in here. And now we're just going to plant the rest of them. Now, something that I find really helpful is when I'm planting is to, if they're in the pouches already, like this is the dill. So that's how small they are. And I really like to just open it up and then make sure that they can just pour into my hand and I can take them directly and put them inside the hole. If we put them on something else, you can, or if we have a bunch in like a baggie or something like that, you can use them. But this really helps put them in nicely, and then we don't have to try to pick up the little seeds from someplace. Okay, so you can either do it either way, like I described before, put it on a plate and then take them and put it in, or you can just take this right here. If someone else is holding the pod, you can hold it there and then you can put it in right from your hand. So that's really easy that way too. And I find that you get a lot of less waste and a lot less frustration that way as well. Now I already put in the dill seeds into the little pod. And something I wanted to mention is that this is one that's open. So you want to make sure that we fold it over and we tape it. Now, as you can see too, because I had to cut it, I cut off the word dill. So we want to make sure that we write that back on. So I'm just going to put on here that it is dill. Okay. And then I'm going to tape it on the back. So see, I have dill. We're going to tape it on the back and it's going to be solid and good to use for the next time. Put that aside. And next up we have parsley. So these are what the parsley seeds look like. So there's a lot more in them. You can tell too that there's more in other ones and less in some. And that's okay. It just depends on how many you need for each thing, how far they're supposed to be together, etc. So that's something to look at, and all the information is behind here. Now you have to remember that the information is going to be different because we're using a hydroponic system and we're not planting them in soil. So this is something super important too, and we are going to be going over how to use them in soil at a later date. Okay, so now I have the herbs planted, and we have to put hoods on there, but once I plant the stuff for the salads, we will do that in a second. So we have parsley, dill, and the tatsoi mustard. And I'm going to show you what this looks like inside. So as you can see here, we have, sorry, it's backwards, but you guys get it. So there's parsley, dill, and the tatsoi mustard. So I have it right in there. This is how it fits. So it's going to be a bit above. That's okay. It's honestly nothing to worry about. Just kind of push it back down in. Totally don't try to force it. This is completely fine. So again, we have all the herbs on this side. We have the 3 herbs, and now we're going to do the 3 salad options as well. So right now I'm planting the salad greens right here, and this is what these seeds look like. So these are round, just like the mustard. So next up I have the all lettuce mix right here, and those look like just like tiny little seeds. I'm not sure if we can see them. Yeah, there you go. So they kind of look like that. I know it's not really the best, but we can see them in class. So the all lettuce mix, certified organic. So we are going to try to use as many organic things as we can so that we are able to build kind of more healthy and understand the actualities behind organic growing and why it's important, especially why it's important in urban communities. So we're going to be talking about that in class. And just so you know, it has something really nice on the back too. So there's always instructions or details about the plant. And it says they have 3 to 4 inch baby leaves. And it's a diverse mix of lettuces. So this is great because you have so many different ones. It's not just like you're going romaine, for an example. You're getting so many in here, which is perfect for a salad. Okay, so the last one we have is the watercress. So this is what this plant looks like. They have flowers, which is really cool too. It says a peppery tasting heritage variety traditionally grows along stream banks and or other moist areas, which is perfect for an AeroGarden because it's going to take that moisture just like it would anywhere else and really grow large and really fresh, which is awesome. And you use it in salads and it's going to be super tasty as well. So I can't wait to try this when we grow it. And I would show you these, but they're really small. Here is that. They're really tiny. So these are tiny, tiny little balls. So they're even smaller than the tatsoi mustard and the salad greens. So it's really important to consider the size of each of the little balls as well, like the little seeds. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and plant them. And again, I'm putting them in my hand and then just transferring them over. Again, I'm finding that a lot easier than trying to pick them up. You also get a lot more control. And it's totally okay too if something gets on like the outside of a little sponge. Just take your finger and kind of just plop it back, or tweezers. Okay? So that's really easy too, and you're totally allowed to do that. Okay, so we got them all planted in here now. So we have the stickers on top. We have them all in their little pods, as you can see there. They're in their little cages, and I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so here this is right here. I'm going to go right up top here. So we have our tatsoi mustard, our dill, our parsley, and these are in the herb section. So they're all sectioned right here. Then over here we have this section, which is the salad section, the all lettuce mix, the salad greens, and the watercress. As you can see, they're popping up a little bit. Again, that's totally okay. They're all going to get it down in there, so that's totally fine. Again, we can just pop it back in. You're going to have some that are more temperamental than others, and that's totally fine. It's understandable as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the hoods on. So the hoods look like this. They're just little plastic things. I'll take one out for you to see if I can. So these are little hoods. So they go right on top. Now, does anybody know what these do? Yes, you are correct. These do make little greenhouses. So as we learned before with greenhouses, that we need to have, it kind of creates this moisture, heat space, and that helps everything grow. And that's why it's important for northern communities to do that as well. Now you don't need to tape these on because when the plant gets too large, it will help being able to take them off. And plus we're going to talk about that in just a second. So the hoods are awesome and they just go right on top. So they create that greenhouse type environment. So as we go through, and as you're going to see when we go and look at it, you're going to see that it gets really moist in there. There's going to be water droplets and it's going to be quite warm. And that is what we want. That is for sure what we want. And that's why the heat is here. So the heat goes down and it makes for this nice, awesome environment for these plants to grow. So we're just going to take them. We're going to place them on top. You can just plop them on there. They go right over them. It's not going to leave any space, which is awesome. If it goes up a little bit, well, all we really need is just to go like that, right? There we go. So you can't really see it that well, but all I'm doing is I'm just pasting them right on top. So now we have like our little greenhouses, and that was as easy as it was. So we just had to soak the little sponges, and then we had to take the sponges, put them in the baskets, plop the seeds in the holes in the sponges, put them in here, put the labels on, and put the hoods on, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So there isn't really that much mess. There's a little bit of water everywhere, but other than that, like I just have a couple droplets here and there, so it's really easy. Now, when this gets up further and these start growing, they're going to be tiny little cute little things. They're going to be green, of course, and they're going to look a bit different because we planted so many different things. But what you're going to see is that they're going to come up and they're going to go through there. We're going to go through that little hole saw before, and they're going to be up here. So what happens when they get to be too big? We need to make sure that they still are in that warm environment, because especially if it's cold in the school, right? And we want to make sure that they can grow really nice and healthy and strong. So what I actually found was I use these little cups. Now, I found these. Okay, we have them all around the class, and you can even use a water bottle and just cut the tops off. You can use anything like that. And I'm going to show you how we use them. But basically, I found them because my grandma had them. They're using for a bunch. They're going to throw them away. And I said, no, I'll just use them. So I brought them into class. We have them. And they work perfectly for this. And they allow that heated, moist environment to really help the plants thrive. So when they gets up to that point, all we do is we take one out, and we're going to take these off. And we're just going to plop them on. So this is how easy it is. We just take the one, plop it on. And these act as the little greenhouses, and it still is. Now, if it gets really moist in there, where sometimes it does get really moist and warm, we just take a little piece of paper towel, you plop it under there, and we bring it up. We just put it on a little bit of an angle, and then the moisture can go through and it's captured that way if there's a bit too much, because you're going to see if it gets too much. You're going to know. And plus, you can just come see me, and I'll tell you if we need to add a little bit more, we need to take some out, and what we need to do there. So now the best thing of all, we get to program our AeroGarden. I always find this really fun and going through the different elements, plus all the lights light up, so it's really interesting. So we're going to do that part next. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug it in. Be ready for some light here. There we go. Woo-hoo-hoo. Look how exciting that is. See, can you hear it? You hear it a little bit. I'm going to show you actually what's happening in here before we get started. So the light has been turned on because we turned it on. We do have to program this right here, and we're going to go through that in just a second. It is set because I already had it set, but I'm going to show you exactly how to reset it. So we're going to take this dill out. We're just going to put the cap over to the side. You take this out, and you can see that the water is pouring through there. So that's how the water keeps on getting in there. So we see that? So it's like a little waterfall type situation going on. Then we're just going to pop it back in and put this back on top. So that's what's going on inside. So each of these has a little waterfall going on. It's the pump, and it kind of goes through and it make sure that it gets all the water. So it's not just at one point, because that can be kind of alarming too if you just have water in the bottom, and as it goes down, there's not water going to each part of it as well. So that's why it's very important for this to happen. So there, I just angled it a bit closer for everyone to see. Now, something we got to make sure is that this is the light. I'm not going to show you what this is, but we have red lights right here, red lights, blue light, and some in white lights. So whatever you do, I do not want you to look at it. That's very important for you not to actually look at this. So we're just going to put it down. So what I did is there's this little clip here, right there. And all I do is let me see if I can do it this way. There we go. I pull it this way and it goes down. So we're just going to go down to the furthest part down, because we want the light to be close to these so it adds the most heat and the most light to it as possible. Of course, I'm a bit more darker now, but that's okay. This is what happens. So what we're going to do is you're going to press this button right here. It is the menu arrows to scroll. So you're going to press the menu, set the clock. We don't need to do that. We're going to start a garden. You're going to press this button. We're going to go down. Where are we at there? Set lights on. Nope. Test pump. Nope. Change days. Go back. Set clock. Okay, we want to go to start a garden. We did that. So we already started it. We went through all of our steps. The clock has been set, which basically that's all that start a garden as you do. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this little green button right there. It looks like a plant. It says plant select. We're going to click on that. So veggies. salads, herbs, 24-hour light, vacation mode. So if we go on, whenever we go on March break, Christmas break, anything like that, I usually put them on to 8 hours light. Uses less water. It keeps on lighting everything, keeps on growing, but we don't have to worry about it as often. So as you know, we had flowers and there was a vegetable option and an herb option and a salad option. So the salad is 16.5 hours of light and the herbs are 17 hours of light. So what I'm going to do is it's only 30 minutes extra. So I'm going to put it on. Really want the herbs to grow really nice and strong. So I'm going to set it to herbs. So herbs is 17 hours light and tells you how long it is as well. So when we put the timer on, we want to make sure that it's on mostly when we're not in class, so that we're not all blinded by the light. Does that make sense? So we're going to do that, and I'm going to set that up in just a second. So we're going to make sure that we click that. We're going to click on the green button again, which means to select that little plant there. AeroGarden set is what it says, and now it's set up. So now we're going to set up the timer for it, so we know exactly when it's supposed to go on at the certain times. Okay, so now we're going to set a time. So the light was kind of bothering me a little bit. So all I had to do was this was on and there's a little sun there and you just click it. Now, the one thing that you need to know as well is that these do not click. They're just, you just touch them. So that's something important to know too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the green button here. It says menu. We're going to click it one more time. We're going to go down, set clock, start garden, plant select, and set light on. We got to do set light on, click the green button again. And we're going to change that. So what we're going to change it to is to come on at 3 p.m., which is the end of school. So I'm going to make sure that it happens at that time. So there's an upward arrow and there's a downward arrow. So I'm going to go up to 3. Okay, 3 o'clock there. Use the up arrow. And I'm going to press the green button. It's going to go over to the next one thing. We want to make sure it goes on right at 3 o'clock. And then I'm going to press the green button again. And AM or PM, we're going to change it to PM. So just using this button to do this button to select and to go to the next one. And then we use the up and downward arrow to change the timings of everything, obviously. So now we're done with that. I'm going to click the green button again. It says light to turn on at 3 o'clock. Okay, so we have the time is right to this. You want to make sure that you change the time there as well. So if we haven't already, this is what we're going to do. We're going to press the green button again. Click it. I'm going to set the clock. Press the green button. So right now it is whatever time it is because what time it is for me, it's going to be different for you. So what you're going to do is we're going to change it. So for me, it is 3:30 right now. So we're going to go up like here. We're going to press 1, 2, 3, green button, change this to 3:30, go up to 30, do. Okay, so we are at 3:30. We're going to click on this, PM, click on that. So as you can see, it turned on the light because we told it to turn on for 17 hours as of 3 o'clock. Okay, so perfect. This is the time that we're going to do it. And it's also going to get a little bit of darkness, which is great as well. And we're going to keep some lights on in the class, but that's basically what we want to do. So basically as the sun comes up, this light is going to turn off and it's always going to have some sun. And if it goes a little bit darker, that's okay too, but we got perfect timings for all this. So I just turned the light off for now and that is it. So to recap what we learned what happens in the AeroGarden, where to put the food, how much food to put in, and how much water to put in as well. We learned that this thing can come on and off to refill the water easy enough with our little filtered water and our distilled water and also the plant food. We can put this in here. We learned about how to soak the sponges first so that they don't float on top and doesn't cause any problems. And we want to make sure that they're as wet as possible so they grow really, really nice. We then put the soaked sponges inside of the grow baskets. We took the seeds, we put them in our hands or on like a little plate. We took them, we put them into the center of the sponge. Then we took the labels, we labeled everything with a Sharpie. Remember, Sharpie is very important. And you just labeled it with a Sharpie. When we stuck them on there, very nice, very centered. And if we couldn't do that, we asked a friend to do that as well. And then we put our little lids on top, which makes sure that it basically acts as a mini greenhouse. As the light goes down, makes it nice and warm. The water then adds the moisture and it becomes like a perfect environment to grow. And we made sure that everything is labeled properly. So we have our herbs and our salads. If we do it that way, We also, if we have one grouping, we want to make sure that if it's just a whole thing of herbs, we want to make sure that it also says herbs, maybe on the front, so we know exactly what it is. And we just use masking tape for that as well. Then we learned that we had to plug it in, turn the light on, and how to schedule the time, how to turn it on to time at a certain time, to turn on at a certain time, how to schedule it for our salads and herbs in our fruits and vegetables if we're doing that as well. So that is the AeroGarden. And it will also tell you different things, days planted, and the plant food timer, so we know exactly what time everything is going on, if we need to add more food. And if we need to add more food, as another note, this will turn red. So this green light here, that is a little leaf, will tells us we're good to go. We're good. We're awesome. And if we need more plant food, this right here, this little screen will say plant food, add water, and this will also be red. So we know that that is a warning, kind of like a stoplight, right? So you have a green light, everything's good. Stoplight being there's something that stopped in here, there's something that's going on, and we need to fix it. So that's all that happens. We want to make sure it's all plugged in to our very awesome power cables that have the least disruption with water. And we also want to make sure that we take care of this and we make sure that we don't have any water go in them. We also learned about how do you put in the bigger cups when they start to grow. And later on, we will be discussing more about how these can benefit urban environments, how people can actually make these into little greenhouses so that they can use the food for themselves and donate it to those in need in terms of herbs, lettuce, vegetables, fruit, and anything like that. And also we will be learning about how to transplant them in the spring, which we have to start a little bit later, but that's when we're going to do it. Okay, so that's your AeroGarden for you. If you have any questions, please come see me. Hopefully this video walks you through everything very awesomely and you're able to do it over the course of the period. So again, if you need anything, I'm at my desk, so just come see me or I'm walking around. So hopefully this helps everybody and enjoy. And we're going to have a lot of fun seeing these grow up through it and changing everything, changing the light, distance, and yeah, so have an awesome time making your AeroGarden, everybody.